Welcome to Northern Lights. I'm Dwain.
I'm Mark.
And welcome to MarkMania. So what we're doing, we've got a new show, and every week we're going to review Raw and SmackDown. So me and Mark haven't been fans of wrestling for quite some time. And because a lot of people get back into wrestling when it's Royal Rumble season and they get into WrestleMania, we want to sort of document our experience with wrestling and try and become fans again. So this week's Raw started out with Brock Lesnar coming out and having a promo with Bobby Lashley. What did you think, Mark?
Well, as I haven't actually been a fan for quite a long time, but I remember the comparisons way back when between the two. You know, Bobby Lashley, Brock Lesnar.
Yeah.
So, you know, as luck would have it, just coincidentally, as soon as I tried to get back into it, the first section I see is Brock Lesnar and Bobby Lashley.
Yeah.
And after all of this time, so I think it's not like one of them that's been on everyone's mind for all these years, but it would have been nice to see.
Yeah,
back
definitely.
then, you know. But I think it works even more now that Lesnar's got more of a sort of, not a comedy role specifically, but he's got a bit more of a personality. He ain't just a wrecking machine. I mean, he still is.
Obviously. Yeah, he's definitely a machine.
You know, if it was just two absolute, imagine Brock Lesnar 2015 against this Bobby Lashley. It's almost like just, well, they're just two titans. Well, titans, I'll use that term, loosely, but you know what I mean? As it just going at each other. But because Lesnar's got a bit more of a sort of softer comedy role, it works. Plus his jokes were, I thought his joke were pretty funny actually.
Yeah, not
who's there, Bobby who exactly.
I laughed way too much at that, but it definitely works. I think the problem before with Brock was he was, you know, as you said, he was very quiet and he didn't seem to care. He didn't seem to enjoy wrestling. But now he's really into it. He's really enthusiastic. And I think it really works for him. It's easy to get behind him. But just before that, the Hurt Business came out, and they started talking to Bobby like, "Oh, we're best mates again. I'm so glad we like each other." And Bobby told him, you know, to fuck off. I'm not interested. Get a life, which is a bit weird. And then, so they came out, and you know, I'm not sure if Brock's a face or a heel now. He, you know, he comes out. He's really into the crowd. He seems to really enjoy himself, and he just screams Philadelphia. I always love how like American audiences go crazy when you yell where they live. They get so excited.
I always think they should just fucking bring an atlas and just shout names from it. Throw enough shit at the wall and see what sticks. But yeah, I noticed that, and after, like, you know, who's the other boy from the Hurt Business? Because Shelton Benjamin came out, didn't he, as well? And you know,
Cedric Alexander.
Right, yeah, and obviously to make him look stronger, he just battered them outside ring, because you're not going to have him get battered here by his former teammates when he's about to go and have a match with Brock. So
yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? The problem is it didn't make him look good. Like it didn't make Bobby look good, because the whole segment he got bullied on, which I liked. It was funny, and then he brought out the Hurt Business and he beat up the Hurt Business. But it's not impressive that he beat up the Hurt Business because they're sort of displayed as nobodies anyway.
Yeah, well, or I thought it was a nice section to come back into wrestling too, to be honest. But it was good. It was good chemistry between the two, because you've got two not complete opposites, I wouldn't say, but as in their characters.
Yeah, definitely.
This is me throwing a lot of guessing out there. I might get, you know, quite a bit of this wrong in these videos, because this is me trying to get back into it. You know, I haven't been a diehard for a long time, so I might get, but my assumptions, you know, of getting back into it, this is what I think.
And then we moved on to RK Bro versus Alpha Academy. So that's I don't know if you know, it's Matt Riddle and Randy Orton teaming up against Shelton Benjamin and Otis. And to be honest, it was a real shame for me to see Otis like the character he is now, because when I was last watching wrestling, he was this really funny character. He had the 24/7, not 24/7. He had the Money in the Bank briefcase, and he had Mandy Rose by him all the time, and it's like, you know, he was part of a tag team. It's really funny, and now he just sort of seems like a serious heel. I think he's a heel. I don't really know, but he's just generic wrestler now, which is a shame. But you know, it is what it is.
the
And they
monster,
started.
though.
Huh?
Still a monster.
Yeah, he's
He's
a massive monster. He's huge. Do you know,
Jesus,
Matt? He's younger than both of us. He's younger than us.
get out of town. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, like 5 years younger than us. It's
I've
ridiculous.
really got to hit the gym. I really have to hit the gym. The there was what I found funny about that right now. Even fans who love it still, they might even be thinking something similar. But whenever I see Randy Orton in a tag team, you think it's not well. He's going to RKO him soon.
Yeah.
Not going to be long. You know, like, as in come out and by all accounts, like as in from things that I've just dipped in and out of, and that they've been together for on and off for quite a bit of time and stuff. But it's just the Randy Orton character that's been bled through all of his career. Pretty much, he's going to turn on people. As
Yeah.
I would just expect it at any moment, and maybe even that they lost the tag team titles to Otis and then what do you call the other boy? Sorry,
Chad Gable.
Chad Gable. Maybe that's them setting up for one of them to turn on each other for a WrestleMania. Like,
Yeah, well, so what happened is Matt Riddle and Randy were backstage, and Randy said, "If you want us to win, tag me in." And let me remind you, he wrote "tag me in," tag Randy in on Matt's hands. They came out. They had a fairly good fight, but it was quite quick. Randy came in, got the tag, big hot tag, beating everyone up. Set up the RKO. You think, right, he's going to win now. And then Otis comes out of nowhere, slams him, and gets a pin. And I was actually quite shocked. I was really surprised that he won because it just felt like it didn't feel like a big finishing move, did it? You know?
anticlimactic sort
Yeah,
of thing.
very
Yeah,
anticlimactic. Yeah. And then for the tag team titles to just be won on a random episode of Raw that nobody really cares about seemed weird.
You know what? I do kind of like that though, because every now and again they threw that in. This is going back way back when I was a fan. They throw that in to keep it as an aspect of well, things can happen on a Raw because sometimes when you watch Raw and you might be this is even before when you start watching it and it finishes and you go that would just a hell of a lot of talking, a couple of just thrown together matches that no one cares about, and it's a build up for the next event. But it's good when they do things like that, when the tag titles change hands, or occasionally we've had the actual championship change hands on Raw. I don't know if it's happened lately, but I think it's kind of good just to.
Tends to happen just before Survivor Series. I think it's happened a couple of times recently because it's like, oh, Jinder Mahal is going to fight Brock. Oh no, AJ beat him. AJ's going to fight whoever. No, Daniel Bryan beat him. So it happens just before Survivor Series quite a bit. But yeah, I thought it was overall a pretty good match, quite enjoyable. And then we had Damian Priest and the Street Profits versus Dirty Dogs and Apollo Crews. So the Dirty Dogs, did you know they were called the Dirty Dogs?
No.
Yeah.
This is a very.
Yeah. It was a very generic six-man tag. All the wrestling was kind of serviceable, nothing to write home about. Fairly back and forth. Damian Priest got distracted, and then he got attacked by Apollo Crews. Montez Ford leaped over the top rope, taking himself out and everyone else. And then that left Angelo Dawkins to fight Bobby Roode and Dolph Ziggler on his own. Dolph won by a zigzag. To be honest, I haven't seen Dolph win with the zigzag in about 5 years. I didn't even know he still used it as a finisher. He never pins anyone with it.
I don't think I've seen Dolph win for about 5 years. Whenever I tune in, he's always this guy who's like a great worker, but he's always getting his arse handed to him.
Yeah, that's the problem, is it? Because Dolph's a brilliant wrestler. Like, he's really good. He's great on the mic. He's got good look. He's got a good move set. But the trouble is, he's just been beaten up so much over the years.
Yeah,
He'll never be credible again. Or maybe he will. I think maybe if they give him a good run again, maybe. But I think he's quite a good journeyman, isn't he? Like, if someone comes up from NXT,
how long he's been in it as well, because he was one of the Spirit Squad, if you remember them.
yeah, he was, wasn't he? But whenever someone comes up from NXT, you know that they're gonna have a feud with Dolph, and Dolph sort of eases them into it, which it kind of works, you know. Overall, I thought it was an okay match. I enjoyed it, but the big problem was, what's it for? Why are they fighting? What's the story behind it? Who cares? Like, do you know what I mean?
Well, I always think that, like, for a long time now, Raw seems to have these matches where everything's well, no, sorry, not everything, just quite a few matches. There's nowhere near storyline driven. They're just kind of thrown together because it's a wrestling show, and all right, here you go. We better have some wrestling in there, and they'll get two people out of them, but they've got nothing to do with each other and thrown together. Perhaps these have got a history, or they might have met, before down the line. But as in, just to watch it, it's not the best match for me to try and get back into wrestling.
Become a fan again, yeah.
That's what I'll say on that one. But I will say one of my notes here. It just says Damian Priest is fucking good. That was what my notes said.
Good, yeah.
That's
He's
what my notes
amazing.
said on it. But
because he had he was NXT. Was he NXT champ? No, he was North American NXT champ, and now he's the United States champ. He's really good, and he had that he sort of brought through Bad Bunny with last WrestleMania. Did you watch that?
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, the singer, those two, they're tag teamed, and he was actually pretty good. Actually, I think it's probably one of the better.
The Canadian Death Destroyer. What do you call it? Canadian Destroyer. I nearly call it the Canadian Death Star.
Canadian Star Wars.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. What did you think of after that? What do you think of Seth Rollins versus Big E?
Well, yeah. So Seth came out, talks about how he's going to face Roman Reigns at the Royal Rumble. But what I find weird isn't the whole point of like Survivor Series. That's when like Raw and SmackDown people fight. That's kind of the whole point of that gimmick, isn't it? But now they just fight wherever, which is fine, I guess. But why is no one from SmackDown fighting Roman Reigns? Why is it a Raw?
To be honest, like over the years, the amount of times that they've had where they've had drafts, and then they've had the Raw Super Show, the SmackDown Super Show, where all of them are in it together and all that kind of stuff, and then they go back to a brand split again. It's just too much. So, like, as in, it's not surprising if someone from a different brand comes over.
It's not surprising, no. But to make that
really too much, but I wish it just met the mind up, because things like that, it does get a little bit. We're like, well, what's the point? Why are you snubbing everyone else on this brand? Well, unless they're planning for something big, you never know. Because I mean, they've got the equity built up of the Shield, which was nearly 10 years ago now.
Yeah,
all that kind of stuff, and you're like, well, but they've done this so many times. They've had so many rivalries with them that you go, well, are they just destined to do it forever? That'll still sell.
Yeah, and it will sell, and I think it will be a good match. So I that's the thing. I'm shitting on it, but I am actually looking forward to it. I think it will be a good fight, but I just find it strange that they're from separate shows.
Yeah.
Why do you not put Seamus or Cesaro up against Roman Reigns? Give someone a little bit of a push. But yeah, Big E comes down and challenges Rollins to a fight. I believe they were originally going to have a singles match at day one. And so it was sort of the case of what if that fight had happened. I thought the fight was pretty good. Two wrestlers going at it, nice back and forth. Rollins was about to do the pedigree, but Big E was too big and sort of pulled him off. And he escaped, and then he got a curb stomp, giving Rollins the win. But the trouble is, I knew that Seth Rollins was going to win that fight immediately, because there's no way you're going to have him compete for the title at Royal Rumble and make him lose. He needs to go in and look as strong as possible. But the issue is, so I did enjoy the match, but I knew he was going to win, so it was hard to get invested because I didn't care about any of the pinfalls. Unless it was Seth going for the pinfall, I didn't think it was going to happen. And then it makes Big E look bad, doesn't it? Like, why are you feeding the ex-champion he was just the champion recently, just come off a loss, loses again? It just discredits him as a champ. Like, that should have been if they were going to do that, should have been a really difficult match. Maybe it was a count out, or maybe just don't make them fight at all. That might be better. But I don't know. What did you think of it?
I get what you mean, and they've always done this kind of thing where all past equity that's built up is thrown out the window if someone else needs a push.
Yeah.
And again, I'm with you there. Like when they've done it before, like with even recently. Do you remember last year when Finn Balor fought Roman Reigns, and then but previously Brock had come out and like squared up to him? So you go, well, Finn's going to lose.
Yeah.
Like, how's anyone invested in this? Like, he's clearly going to lose. And this is what happened, I think, as well with this kind of stuff. Like, again, this is me edging my way back in, so I don't know the full backstory. But if that's the sort of case where they've presented to each other, Roman and Rollins, talking to each other and building promos in the past and stuff, then he's obviously going to win. Because then that means that they've got to throw all that promo work out.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's just sometimes you can tell. Didn't you say there were a time a number of years ago where you were saying to your friend or something, you were putting bets on, well, the storyline's going this way, so this is what's going to happen.
Yeah, when I used to watch wrestling actively, I used to make a lot of money. Well, not a lot of money, because I don't put huge bets on. But I used to almost be correct every single time because you know where the momentum of the story is going. Where's it going? Who's going to win? You know what's going to happen. So yeah, it becomes a bit too predictable. But It is what it is. And then we had Nikki Ash and Rhea Ripley. So I didn't know that Nikki Cross, what I originally knew her as, is now a superhero, and her name's Nikki ASH. I don't know what that stands for. Maybe a shit hero. I really don't know. I don't know what it stands for. But yeah, so she comes out as a superhero. Her and Rhea Ripley used to be like the tag champions. Rhea doesn't want to go for the tag titles anymore. She wants to go on a singles run, which makes sense because, she's a really good wrestler, and so is Nikki Cross, to be fair. But I think they're probably better as singles competitors. And then, so Nikki didn't like this. She kicked off, dragged Rhea to the floor, started smashing her like she's Khabib. And then it's sort of, but what? But what's it for? Why are they doing it? Are they going to have a big singles feud? Is it?
No, of course they will. Of course they will. You watch that, like, as in, I can guarantee within the next, like, leading up to WrestleMania, it might not drag out that long up until WrestleMania, but they will have a singles match against each other.
Yeah.
Guarantee. But when sometimes this is not discrediting anyone, but when they're not the best at actual acting, why do you let it drag out like a fucking bad fart in an elevator? You just fucking leave it there hanging, like, awkward silences, like someone at a rate shit audition where they're like, well, what are we gonna? It's like the voiceovers on the first Resident Evil game. It was just like shit.
It's gonna be a Jill sandwich.
Yeah, it's just fucking crap.
Yeah, that's the thing. They're good wrestlers, so why
leave it in the ring?
Yeah.
Leave it in. Like, if they're not that strong, it's just one of them where you go. It's rich coming from me, but as in, you don't have to give everyone like these big speaking roles, or if you're gonna do it, keep it minimalistic.
Yeah,
then it'll look believable rather than they stood there for ages trying to do this false argument.
Yeah.
And then they hug for a bit, and as she walks off, you can always tell when someone's gonna get stabbed in the back as well, can't you? Because it's the walk away where they look up to the Titantron, and someone behind is like kind of really slowly.
It's too much.
It was too much, I thought. Anyway, if you're going to start an hour in, cut it down a little bit. But...
And it seemed pointless having it in the ring. Like, why was that in the ring? That could have been a quick, 30 seconds in the back, backstage, have a bit of a, which would actually be better. And then they could, like, throw each other around, have a bit of a scrap. And I'd like that more. And I wonder if it's going to be, they're going to have a big feud, or maybe it's just like a little mini feud in the Rumble. Like, maybe Rhea's in the last four, and then Nikki Cross comes over and throws her out and loses it for her, and then that leads something to Mania.
Yeah, they've done that. That's always a good. It projects into a WrestleMania rivalry, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly. So it needs to build up. So next we had Reggie and Dana Brooke, who's now the 24/7 champion. What do you feel about the 24/7 title, Mark?
I watched it when it would debut because Mick Foley came out, didn't he? And he debuted it a while back. the very first couple of weeks, you think, right, maybe this is a little bit exciting because it's always on the line. And then you realise it's for the people where the writers don't have anything for them that week. They can just run around. This is a couple of years ago, by the way. They can run around after R-Truth for a bit, get a eat shit pin, and run away again.
Yeah, why is it the roll-up always works for the 24/7 title? Anytime, you just roll them up and they've won.
I know, yeah, or like a fucking, the softest baking tray that you've ever seen. If that bounces off their head. Do you remember? Kane won it one time when he were in a suit and tie because he were on a football field with R-Truth, and R-Truth ran into the post that's padded, by the way, and he fell on his arse, and Kane went and covered him. I get the comedic value and stuff like that, but you're like, it's like, imagine if you were sat watching wrestling and then, you know, someone who comes in who isn't a fan and you go, I'll just skip this bit actually because this isn't.
Definitely. I think the 24/7 title is a good promo tool. Like, say they've got a celebrity comes on, like Bad Bunny, and he won the title. Then, like, between, I think when did he win it? He won it between then and WrestleMania. So then anytime he was doing like a song or he was on a TV show, he had the 24/7 title with him. So it kind of worked. I thought it's quite good. But they've devalued it so much.
Right.
What they need to do is like give it to someone like Brock. Like let Brock or Bobby Lashley batter him. He's got the 24/7 title, and then someone's really got to fight him to get it. Like the hardcore title. Like I used to love when the hardcore title got swapped hands. You know, like because you knew it'd be some like extreme fight, someone would go mental. It'd be anywhere.
Well, back then though, they had Crash Holly, didn't they?
Yeah.
He weighs over 400 pounds. Yeah, he'd have that, and that was like a gimmick thing because he was the heel that you never, that you always wanted to lose it sort of thing, but they kept on to it. But I don't know, with this, they just pass it around like it was a World Heavyweight Championship in 2010. That was getting thrown around like a fucking kid's shit-filled nappy. Like throwing it around like that. It just, I don't know. I don't like the idea of the 24/7. I think it's very quickly ran its course within the first 6 months of it actually coming out. I just didn't think it worked.
Just don't expose it as much. Just don't have it on every week. Have it, pop up now and again, and have it mean something. Like maybe if you're holding the title by, I don't know, by Survivor Series, you get a shot at the main title, something like that. Like make it mean something, and then then when they're all chasing after it, matters. But yeah, so we're going on far too much about how much we hate the title. But so Reggie comes out and he gives Dana Brooke like a Philly cheesesteak sandwich. Akira Tozawa and R-Truth are chasing after them. So they throw their sandwiches. It misses them and it hits Tamina instead. They run off, get caught by Omos, who beats up Reggie. And overall, it was an awful segment. Really, really bad. It wasn't funny. I wasn't interested. I didn't care. And I think, is it because is the segment not funny, or is it the people involved aren't funny? Because say if that had have happened, the exact same storyline would have happened, right? But you had Goldust and Booker T eating Philly cheesesteak sandwiches. They throw them off screen. It hits Kurt Angle. They run off. Goldust bangs into Kane, and Kane chokeslams him on the floor. With those four guys, even though it's shit material, they've got good charisma. They're really funny. They'd have made something of that. Like Goldust had made some weird joke about the steak sandwich, and Booker T would be like, I can't eat carbs or something. I don't know. They'd do something weird and funny, and it'd be.
I get where you're going. I get where you're going with it, but you got to remember as well that maybe we're being a little bit too critical because you remember what their audience age range is, and you remember the time when you were saying that with Goldust and Booker T, they were tagging in like 2002. Yeah. So the age range we would have been to find that funny because it's aimed at a younger crowd now.
Yeah, but if I go back and I watched that stuff now, I still find it funny. So
well, yeah, because it's a nostalgia thing that you grew up with, isn't it? It's like, but yeah, I now, especially when you don't know any of the characters, you you're not gonna give a fuck, are you?
Yeah.
It's not.
So,
It means nothing to you. So
yeah, exactly.
anyway, after that there was the Omos squash match.
Yeah, very boring fight, really quick, as squash matches are. The trouble is with that squash match, I think with all squash matches, is they don't lead to anything. They don't mean anything. Like, why didn't Reggie fight Omos? They just had a fight in the back. Why didn't it say, right, let's go have a fight? And he drags him out, and then they have a fight in the ring. At least then it's something. There's a storyline to it,
Probably just because they'll be building. It might be next week or the week after or something like that. Something's going to come from it.
Or
But
why didn't Reggie push the jobber into Omos, and then the jobber beats up Omos? No, dude. Omos beats up the jobber, and then has a fight. Connect it, give it some meaning. I'm not as invested.
You know, whenever there's a wrestler's music playing and they're coming out, and the other wrestlers in the ring getting introduced over their opponent's music, you think this ain't gonna last long.
No,
it's like remember the Ryback days when he first come out, when he'd take on two at once, and they're like weighing in at a combined 67 pounds. You've got Mark and Michael or something like that, and they're like some shit Chuck and Billy promo.
They're all AEW stars now, though. You know that, right? All of them.
All right. Oh, they're world champions.
But they are. If you go through all the AEW guys, they've been jobbers on WWE. Like most of them have, anyway. It's really funny.
Right.
So then,
yeah, but wasn't that key? But leading on to that, right? Again, I'm highly aware that I just sound like I'm just shitting on the current product, because I am mainly.
Yeah. Because it's shit, isn't it? It's not a good product.
Honestly, I'm trying to find the good in it, because I'd like to be able to get into wrestling again, but it might just be the gap that I've had is too long. But you see, leading on to the next section of the next segment with the Miz and Maurice and
Edge
and Beth Phoenix, because they're all four of them are married, aren't they, to each other?
Yeah.
Obviously.
So they're obviously going to, they're going to have a mixed gender tag team match.
Yeah, I think that's at the Rumble.
Yeah.
Where you think, oh well, I know Edge, I know Beth, I know Miz. I don't really know Maurice, because I think she's relatively new compared to what I've been watching. But
she's new and old. It's kind of weird. So she's just not wrestled in a while, but she sort of wrestled in the time you weren't watching at all.
Okay, right, yeah. But you think, all right, maybe this will be a saving grace, because I know most of them. It's just the strangest thing, and to be honest, I remember this even way back when. Miz, I feel like I'm watching a pantomime whenever I'm like, I know that you've got to get crowd involvement and investment in it and everything like that, and you've got to get them to react and all this kind of stuff. But
Philadelphia.
If you're good enough, you don't need the shit jokes and the unpopular opinion. I hated the you remember when Damien Sandow were his stunt double?
Yeah,
I hated that gimmick. I remember I went to go watch it live in Manchester, Leeds, wherever it was, it don't matter. And went to go watch it, and I'm like, this is shit. But every single person is loving it, so it's a me problem.
Yeah,
maybe I just hate the Miz. Well, because I've always thought it keeps the Intercontinental title warm. Yeah, it never means much. And that WrestleMania headline with John Cena was regarded as one of the worst WrestleManias ever.
Yeah.
That's
the thing. I do like Miz. I think he's got a good place. He's sort of that sort of sniveling heel. I think his promos are pretty good. There's sometimes they're really, really good. I think it depends what he's doing and what he's building up to. And I don't like Edge. I've never liked Edge, but I think when I was a kid, you've got Team Extreme, the Dudley Brothers, and Edge going at it. So you pick one, don't you? You've got one of your favorites out of those three. So for me, I didn't like Edge. I was like, no, he's the worst, and and he's shit. No, I'm joking. He's good, but I'm not a fan. But yeah, so they came out and they had like a promo with each other, and like Edge kept like talking about Beth Phoenix and like comparing her to like classic wrestlers to remind people how good a fighter she is. But we know how good a fighter she is. She's a Hall of Famer. She's had loads of belts. We know. Miz and Maurice came out, interrupted. Miz talks about how amazing his wife is and how lucky everyone's to see her. It was a very generic build-up and promo. And to be honest, I sort of expected more from all four of them. But it was really boring, and I just didn't care. Like,
Yeah.
I have no interest in seeing this mixed tag match. Like, I've enjoyed some of the mixed tag matches before. Like, they did a mixed tag tournament, and that was quite fun. And they'd have they'd put random wrestlers together as a pair. So they'd like
Oh,
Asuka and Becky.
yeah, where the commentaries, you can hear it. Not commentary, sorry. What they're speaking, you can hear it very clearly.
Yeah,
Pick it up. It's that funny, right? Okay, yeah. I'm
yeah,
with you.
and it's fun. And maybe I'm just looking at this wrong. Maybe I'm looking at it like, oh, Edge and Miz need to have a serious match. Maybe I need to look at it more funnier than it is. Like, look at it as a comedic, just enjoy it. Maybe that's the problem. But overall, I don't think anyone cares. No one's interested in seeing this fight, I don't think.
No, not really. It's hardly a nail biter, is it?
No.
Or who's going to win? I can't imagine anyone to be sat thinking that. Like the mixed sort of stuff, I never really get excited for it anyway because it's it's usually like couple feuded. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Couple fueled. Like Cena and one of Bella's split up now at WrestleMania.
Oh no.
That kind of I really don't give a
was a
fuck.
good one actually. I forgot who it was. So no, I remember now. So it was Becky Lynch and Seth Rollins versus Baron Corbin and someone else. I can't remember who her name. But yeah, they had a fight. And Becky and Baron Corbin punched Becky Lynch and turned to Seth and said, "What the fuck are you gonna do about it?" And that was a really good mixed gender match. I think you'd like that one, Mark. Actually, that's quite good.
Right. Yeah.
And then we had AJ versus Austin Theory next. It was a really quick 5-minute fight between the two. I sort of feel like Austin Theory is going to get a bit of a push from Vince. Like, he seems to really like him all of a sudden. It was a good back and forth for 5 minutes. AJ took control. He's about to set up the phenomenal forearm, but then he's about to win. This guy called Grayson Waller came out, attacks AJ, and ends the fight with a DQ. Austin Theory takes a picture with him, like a selfie.
It's just
You've just
what
made
it
it
is.
the match.
It's just there's something further down the line, but whenever they're that quick, it's AJ Styles. They can't have a 5-star match every week. You know what I mean? Plus, he's getting a fair age now.
Definitely. He's been around for a long time. I don't know how old he is. Yeah, he's got to be 40 easily. But to be honest, I didn't feel like this was really meant to be an actual match, if that makes sense. It was more like an advert for NXT. It was like, oh, they've had this little fight, and now AJ is going to be on NXT tomorrow. Make sure you watch it. Like, that's what it was for.
Yeah,
it was just
there's nothing wrong with that because it's all the same company.
Yeah.
Leaning up against each other, sort of thing. But when it is like that, you just think, well, I'm here now, so give me something now to watch this. Give me a reason to watch this.
Yeah.
We're going to do advertise Raw on NXT.
Did you watch NXT, Mark?
The fuck?
No, me either. It didn't interest me. Like, I was like, oh, well, now that Grayson Waller's beating up AJ Styles, I better tune in. Like, who cares?
Yeah,
Anything. If you're going to do an advert, make it good, make it seem like I care,
What do you think, Dwayne? Would this be interesting? What do you think of the section after that with the backstage segment of Alexa Bliss, a psychologist, in general?
I don't know. I don't know how I feel. I liked it and hated it all at the same time, because I think Alexa Bliss, she's a great promo. She's a great wrestler. She's got a good look, good move set, but she's stuck with this gimmick. She's got this Fiend gimmick still. But now that Bray Wyatt's left, she needs to get rid of that gimmick, and maybe that's what these therapy sessions are leading to. So for anyone who didn't watch it, she's going through these therapy sessions, to heal herself, which kind of plays on the Fiend character, like hurt and heal. And then she just sort of went mental and started throwing everything everywhere. And that was pretty much it. And he went fine. It was okay. He's definitely going to be on every week. But I'd just like to see something different from Alexa. Not different actually. I'd like to go back to the character she was.
I mean, it's WWE, so these psychotherapy sessions that are never just gonna one day work and it's gonna be, oh, thank you, doctor, and then just walk out to the ring and have a match. It's, you know, like something's gonna build up, she's gonna snap or something like that. But personally, again, I know I'm just being a negative Nancy, and I'm aware that no one's used that phrase since before the millennium. But it's honestly like I never liked this kind of stuff. Even with them when John Mockwell, Dean Ambrose was in WWE, he had like a psychotherapy session thing one time. You know, like, oh, what's the first thing on your mind when I show you this picture, sort of thing. I think it's too much. It's too forced and a bit just
It,
weak. I
it
don't
can
know.
work though. Like when Kane and Daniel Bryan and they had like their anger management therapy, and that was quite funny. That can work.
Yeah, I mean, because Kane wasn't the big red machine anymore. He hasn't been for a long time.
No, I
He
think
was
he was
one.
for the therapy, wasn't he?
He had the mask, but he weren't.
Oh yeah, he wasn't. Yeah, he wasn't. Yeah,
He
I know.
weren't Kane. He was like, he was winding down in his career.
Yeah.
And I must admit, I chuckled a couple of times at that. So maybe it's just selective stuff that I really don't like, or it might be who's doing it or something. But I'm just,
I think it's probably a mix of the writing, who's doing it. Yeah, probably.
yeah,
But
I'm not too sure. It just seems a bit like, obviously it's wrestling, so some of the storylines, I'm the person who was sat laughing my dick off watching Mae Young give birth to a hand last night on YouTube, right? But even around the same time, Kane in like 1999, it was supposed to be escaped from a mental institution.
Yeah.
And he was in the Royal Rumble match in 1999, and the white coats came out trying to capture him, and he battered a few of them, and then just stood over the ropes, eliminated himself, and walked out. And you go, so he's been in the locker room, he's been in the changing room all that while. He comes out, batters a few people, and they go, right, I'll tell you what, we're going to get him now, actually.
Yeah.
I know it's all wrestling, so it's, like I said, the Mae Young thing and all that, but I can't take it seriously.
Yeah. And I don't
I know
think.
I've gone off on a bit of a tangent there as well, but
No, that's okay. I don't know if we're supposed to take it seriously. That's the thing. I never know what WWE are trying to tell me. What is the story they're telling? I never quite know. Is it supposed to be funny? Is it supposed to be serious? It's never clear. I think once they sort of iron that out, it could be good, but I don't know. But then we led into the women's triple threat match, which was Bianca Belair versus Liv Morgan and Dewdrop. I've never seen her before. I think she was NXT UK actually. I might have seen a couple of her stuff.
I've seen videos and stuff, I think, or it might
I
have just
don't
been
think
from
that was her original name.
Not sure. It doesn't matter. That's who she is now. But I was impressed with Bianca Belair. I think she's really, really good.
Yeah.
Again, if anyone's watching this who's like a diehard fan now, they'll probably be looking, going, "Well, where the fuck have you been, Mark?"
Yeah.
No, but I'm just like, this is me trying to get back into it. I can't express that enough. And yourself, you're
Well, that's the
trying
whole
to sort of
point.
ease yourself in, but you know quite a few more than me
Only a little
now.
bit. You know a lot more about the older stuff than me, like way more.
Well, I didn't have a life when I was a child, but like,
oh,
but
well, now.
well, yeah, just sit back and watch me young.
So so Becky Lynch came out to introduce the match, but she sort of put everyone down at first, which I get. Like, yeah, she's the heel. She's supposed to say they suck, but I think there's a way you can do it. Like Paul Heyman's really good at it. He's very good at building up, like whoever Brock's gonna fight, and yet put them down at the same time. So like he's mean about them, but this is how tough they are, and like it's gonna be a difficult fight. Whereas she just sort of just said how shit everyone is, and it didn't really work for me. And then and she kept sort of like gasping into the microphone. She kept going like between every single bit, and I was like, "What are you doing? Why are you doing that?" Oops. And then so it led into the fight. Um, so they all took it in turns. Really good. It's actually, I think it's probably one of my favorite fights of the night. Probably actually my favorite fight of the night. Good back and forth. Everyone sort of got their turn. I felt like anyone could have won at any point. I thought it was going quite well. So then Bianca Belair takes control. Seems though she's got about to beat Liv Morgan. Becky Lynch jumps in, breaks up the pinfall, and runs away from Bianca around the ring. Sort of keep her distracted while Dewdrop gets the pin. Then Becky tries to go for Uranagi. Is that what they call it? Yeah, it's like a rock bottom, but Dewdrop's too big, pushes her away, and sort of pushes her through the ropes. And then Becky Lynch looks like she's really upset, like, oh no, she's big and tough. I'm so scared. So that's sort of the general breakdown. So what did you think of the section overall, Mark?
To be honest, the triple threat, whoever's in it, it's similar to the tag match that happened on SmackDown that we'll talk another time, where there's an unpredictability about it because it's not just if it's just a generic match one-on-one, you can pretty much tell when the match is going to end. It's like it's got a big climax, but triple threat,
the momentum, the timings of it.
Yeah, you get it's just things that when you've been watching for a long time, you get to know when a match is coming to a close. But with a triple threat, like when you think it's over and then someone jumps off the top or something like that to split it up, and you're like, well, back to square one again. But triple threats are always fun. But yeah, like I said, that Bianca Belair, I'll probably be watching again just to see what she can do because that's I thought that was really good. I don't know Dewdrop and Becky Lynch, I do, but I mean on commentary, I didn't.
The commentary was awful. I really did. To be honest, I'm not a big fan of the commentary at all anymore. I don't really pay attention.
The commentary is, in general, I think it's complete garbage. I think it's there's no saving grace in any of it. I don't think.
No.
They're just advertisers. I think we were discussing one time, and it's literally just like when someone wants to get an advert in or something, or and they'll just say what they need to say. There's no personality. There's no natural personality thrown in there either. And I just think it's terrible. And the bits that I've tuned into before, they have been as well. And they try and sell a wrist lock to you as if it's Mankind getting thrown off the cell. But into the microphone that they're going to have to give up. Like, it's a fucking wrist lock, and we're 43 seconds into this match. No, not a fan.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, I agree. And to be honest, I wasn't a fan of Becky Lynch in this at all because we had this really good match. I enjoyed it. But then Becky looked quite clunky. So like when she got pushed through the ropes by Dewdrop, she didn't get pushed through the ropes. She sort of slowly walked out of them. It's clear that she didn't have enough momentum. And she just kind of got stuck and then pulled herself back and then just stared up at her like she was horrified. But like nothing big happened, nothing dramatic happened. I didn't see why Becky Lynch would be afraid. And to be honest, it made Dewdrop look very didn't look like a credible competitor for her at the Royal Rumble because it's clear that Becky Lynch wanted Bianca to lose so that she wouldn't have to fight her because she's the real competitor. So she wants an easier fight. So she set herself up an easier fight. So why would I believe that Becky's scared? She's not. She knows she's going to win.
Even though she beat Bianca Belair in however many seconds at SummerSlam.
Yeah, exactly. Why
would they squash someone to then instantly turn them heel and then you go, well, you've got to get behind them to do it again. You're like, why? They got beat in a second.
Doesn't make any sense to
them. I don't know. Sometimes I just feel like, what's them storylines about? Like one of the writers, they don't even watch the product and all this kind of stuff. And
yeah,
I think it's apparent that the writers aren't great.
Yeah, it feels like nothing's connected. It's like we've almost forgot what happened last year. Like, which is a bit weird. So sort of overall for Raw for me this week, I gave it a 2 out of 5. I think I didn't really enjoy any of the matches. Maybe Big E and Seth was quite good, but I knew I was going to win. The triple threat was fairly good. Nothing really seemed to get built. Like there was no story coming along apart from like building up the title fights. But actually, no, the bit I did enjoy was Brock picking on Bobby Lashley. That was fun, and Otis finally getting his first title. I think that's great. But I didn't feel like this was building up to a Royal Rumble. It didn't feel like it got mentioned at all. But I don't know. What do you think, Mark? What's your overall rating?
Well, I rated it out of 10, but I'll convert that to 5 now. I'll convert that to 5. So my overall rating would be 1.5 out of 5.
1.5. Oh, that is very harsh, man.
Because I had 3 out of 10.
Yeah.
Again, it's just very, very slim pickings. For how long's the actual product again? The actual show?
3 hours. Well, about 2.5 hours with adverts. So.
All right. Well, call it
Now
2.5 hours. Call it 2.5 hours then. I probably enjoyed about 15 minutes of it. Like, actually enjoyed where I'm like, oh, this would actually be quite good, sort of thing. The Brock Lesnar bit, but like you say, as in, I can't hold out for that long just for that one segment, and I'm not overall too excited about it either because they've gone and done the different things.
Yeah.
The Rollins and Big E match, it was good, but like you say, when you know the outcome.
So it's safe to say, Mark, that Raw did not make you a fan this week.
Fuck no. It's going to be a long road ahead, I think, before I'm a wrestling fan again.
So this week's SmackDown started a bit weird. It was just a clip of Seth Rollins just laughing directly in the camera. I was a bit confused, sort of what his gimmick is now. Like, is it the idea that he's like the Joker because he laughs like the Joker? They like try to copy that. And like in his promo image, he's wearing like this white and purple suit. So I wonder if it's connected to that.
Yeah, I remember seeing that, and I thought that I'd missed something. Because when he started laughing, I don't know, I just didn't.
And he's got such a weird laugh as well, which doesn't help.
Yeah, it is. It's like just a fucking cackle.
Yeah.
It's like, in some like really B-list horror movie sort of thing.
Yeah, it's a really weird opening, really strange.
Yeah, it was. I mean, just one of them. You go, oh, okay, then
Yeah.
straight in with Rollins, Joker, shitty laugh. But then it was into the first segment was the Usos come out.
Yeah, so Usos came out. They sort of wore this sort of weird T-shirt that says Bloodlines on it. It kind of made them look like weird Samoan vampire family. It looked a bit strange. But they're pretty good on the microphone. But they kept saying like yeet after everything. So we're like, Philadelphia, yeet. Oh no, they weren't Philadelphia. Wherever they were, some American state, I forgot.
No, I don't know what that means. I'm not cool enough for that shit.
They talk about the grind they've been on, that they're the best tag team, and then they introduced a fatal four-way for the number one contender for the tag team belts at the Royal Rumble. And I thought they were quite good. Like, I thought the promo was pretty funny. They were really good at announcing the teams. I think overall the Usos are really good. I think they're good on the microphone.
Yeah, they really are. I mean, in this sort of us watching again to try and become fans, they are a little bit of a saving grace, I think.
Yeah, 100%.
They've got the work on the mic in the ring. The only thing I think that's kind of annoying is the super kick. It's so good, but when it's done so much, it's like the collar and elbow tie up. It's just, that you're going to have about 4 or 5 in a match at least each.
Yeah.
But, I mean, the actual leading into the fatal four-way sort of thing.
Yeah. Talking about the super kick. Yeah. Talking about the super kick. They started the fatal four-way, kicking Manso and Eric to start the match. Oh, yeah. So the match is Viking Raiders, Los Lotharios, Team Mahal, and Cesaro Monso. When it first started, I was confused and I thought it was like an 8-man tornado tag. I was quite excited. I thought, this could be fun. But then they went to an advert and it was just a normal tag match. Overall, it was pretty fun. The fight's pretty good. Good moves. Everyone sort of took their turn. Viking Raiders got the win, which wasn't a really big surprise because there was only 2 actual tag teams, so you knew it was going to be one of them rather than like Cesaro and Monso, who I don't think have ever tagged. But it is what it is. So, what did you think of the match?
Yeah, I think whenever you've got that dynamic of even just 3 tag teams going at it, but with 4, you know that there's going to be that sense of unpredictability, and it's just like a sense of like what's going to happen, really. And even you know, like say if you've got a generic one-on-one person, and let's say you've got someone in green shorts and someone in blue shorts, and you don't know anything about them, you don't care at all. But when it's in a tag team environment, because I don't know quite a few of these, it is still quite fun to watch because there's that much going on typically. So I always think they're always good to watch. So it was a good opening match for the show. I thought.
Yeah, it was enjoyable.
Quite fun to watch.
The only thing I found strange is that so there's still 2 weeks left to the Royal Rumble. So I don't know why they didn't do like a little mini tag team tournament up to the Rumble, like build up to that, rather than just all 4 guys in, all 8 guys. I mean, I did enjoy the match, but now that they've got this #1 contender, I'm gonna forget about this until the Rumble. Like they're not gonna build it up much. There's not gonna be much involved. So like, why don't you build it up more? Have like groups of 6 tag teams go up against each other, 1 week, one the week after, and then do a big 4-man. And then that goes into the Rumble. Really gets you excited for this big 8 men all in the ring at once. Makes you think of the Rumble. Like, oh yeah, maybe the Rumble will be good. Do you know what I mean? Do it like that.
Right, yeah.
And then we had my favourite segment of this week is Sami Zayn doing Insane, which is like a Jackass knockoff. And so he came out and he just started talking about like there's a conspiracy against him, and he's officially entered himself in the Royal Rumble, and to show everyone that he's better than Johnny Knoxville, who threw him over the top rope last week. And then he's now going to be in the Royal Rumble, which is fun. So he came out in a trolley or like a shopping cart, and he said he's going to jump from one side of the ring to the other over a ramp. What did you think?
Well, look, whenever I've zoned in and out of WWE, it seems as if Sami can do anything.
Yeah.
He's pretty good. I remember him when he was the young rookie, up and newcomer when he came on John Cena for the US Open title match.
Yeah.
Remember that kind of stuff. And then I've seen him last year when he started looking homeless and shit, doing all this conspiracy stuff. And then he's still doing this. He's good on the mic. He's good in the ring and stuff. I wish there'd be some little niche there because because this Jackass thing's going to end at the Rumble anyway.
Yeah.
As soon as Knoxville's gone, then that's it gone. It's not like there's going to be a year-long rivalry or anything. So I wish they wouldn't waste him on someone like Knoxville who's going to be only in there for a short amount of time. But I'll tell you one thing though that I didn't notice. We've spoke about it before, Dwayne. I think it's on the commentary team's agenda to speak over anything important. Even though he's not like, he might even be just running on the microphone in the shopping trolley, and he's saying, "All right, yeah, full speed." The commentary team are like talking all the way over this. You're like, shut your fucking mouth.
I know, because he's so funny as well, isn't he? And they're talking over that. I think you're missing out on some gems here. Not midget gems though. So he goes to go over the ramp and he stops himself twice. These guys are pushing him and he's like, do you want to see me get hurt? And everyone's like, yeah, woo woo. Everyone's excited. It's really funny. Yeah, really pantomime. It was really good. It's kind of, it's quite childish and silly, but I really enjoyed it. I did think it was fun. And then Rick Boggs, I don't know his name. Rick Boggs came out with Shinsuke Nakamura. They attacked Sami Zayn. But I think Shinsuke Nakamura's injured at the moment, so I don't think he compete. So I think they're going to maybe build a bit of a rivalry up for the Rumble maybe afterwards, see if he's better by then. They threw him over the ring and he hit this big crash pad outside. But if you notice, whenever it comes to the Royal Rumble, when it's about to be, there's a lot of people getting thrown over the top rope for like weeks and weeks on end. Like they're making it super clear. You're like, oh, like the commentary, like Michael Cole said it so many times. Anytime anyone went over the top rope, if this was the Royal Rumble, he'd be eliminated. It's like, why are you saying this so often?
Pain in the arse. Look, I'm not going to go off on too much of a tangent, but they do it all the time. They do it leading up to the Rumble where they're going, and I'm going to throw 29 other wrestlers out over that top rope. and then leading up to Money in the Bank, I'm going to climb each rung of this ladder. Yeah, we don't have to climb a fucking ladder. You know, that kind of stuff. And like a cage match, I'm going to climb this cage, all that kind of stuff. But leading up to the Rumble, it seems like everyone's got the agenda. And, you know, if that happens in July, someone just gets thrown over the top rope, no one cares. When it's in January, like, fucking hell, they've got something on the mind. You're like, yeah, anyway. It just,
and
it was all right. It wasn't bad.
No, I enjoyed it. I thought it was good fun. But I did find it weird that Sami announced himself for the Royal Rumble. Why are they doing like, competitive matches? Fight each other to get into the Royal Rumble and get your spaces. Because I remember before they used to fight and like for number one entrance, or you'll come in 30th. That's what they used to fight for. Now it's just like everyone's in the Rumble.
Yeah.
And they advertise.
It can be that kind of stuff, but I mean, in the Rumble is a spot for people to look strong as well. So they need the fodder in there to get thrown out straight away and stuff.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
They need those as well. So you get that side of it, because if everyone in there is like a top dog, I know that WWE likes to cut a lot recently, but let's just say that they're all like top tier, and they get eliminated and it's lackluster, because not everything can be an absolute oh my god moment. Sometimes they just get eliminated and it's like piss poor. It's not, the camera's not even on them, so that you need them sort of like, I don't want to say lower tier, but you know what I mean,
low to mid card. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's that kind
and then
of thing.
We had Natalya versus Alia come out. I think that's her name, Alia. So this was her SmackDown debut. So Natalya came out with a Guinness Book of World Records. So I think she's got the most wins she's got the most wins for a woman, the most matches, and the most pay-per-view matches for a female wrestler. And I kind of hope that WWE have been ironic with it, because she was sort of carrying it like it was a championship belt. But I'm hoping they know it's a joke and know it's not serious. I'm not sure though. So Natalya attacked Alia before the match even began. And then it became a no contest. Alia begged for it to be restarted, and then it was back on again, which I thought was a bit weird. Like, why announce it, then unannounce it within less than 5 seconds? You don't even need to do that. So, and then the fight started, and Alia got a roll up, should I say, and got record for the quickest WWE win ever. It was like 3.02 seconds or something. And the record previously was held by Jerry Lawler. I think it's a bit of a shame to take that kind of record off him. I think it's a nice little thing for him to have, to have the quickest WWE pin ever,
Yeah, well, yeah, like we were saying before, Dwayne, it's a little bit of a throwaway, isn't it? This kind of, it means nothing. It's a roll.
Make it mean something, right? Like, you can make that mean something. Like, if Natalya's got this Guinness Book of Records and she's got the records, make it out that she wants to get the quickest, pin ever. That's what she's wanting to do, and then you build that up, and then it happens at the Rumble or Elimination Chamber. Probably not Mania. That's not a Mania moment, but you can do something with that, and to just throw it away on a random SmackDown that probably hardly anyone watches or cares about. Why throw that away there? That can be something good.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not good, but it can be. But I don't know. But it was a waste.
Definitely.
And then we had Lita return, which was nice, but it's kind of weird. It's like they got rid of Matt Hardy, then they got rid of Jeff, and now they brought back Lita. It's like they're just slowly bringing in a bit of Team Extreme at a time. Like,
and then
I'd have loved
final nail in each coffin.
Yeah. Just bring her in and then sack her. And then she can go take as well or something. I don't know.
But you know what? Watching this, because for whatever reason they've announced every competitor in the Women's Rumble, haven't they? Right.
Well, not every. I think there's about 22 announced already, and there's going to be 30. So there's going to be some surprises. Well, but yeah, they've announced a lot. Yeah.
Well, even so, even be that as it may, when they've announced these, like, sort of the Hall of Famers and the old ones coming out, when they just arrive, you know that it's going to be all right. Well, they're going to be there. It's nice to see them, and they'll get eliminated. But let's throw social media out of the equation at the minute, because people have been, things have been circulating about Lita saying, I feel like I've got one more run in me and things. If you take that aside and you just see Lita come out already, cut a promo, you think, well, maybe there's something more that they've got planned for it. Maybe there is one more run. It's not just quite as straightforward as you come into the Rumble, last a couple of minutes, do a Lita moonsault, and then get eliminated, and that's you. Bye bye. There's actually a little bit more.
And it is quite interesting that they've advertised Rumble early, because they've announced that Mickie James is going to be there. But Mickie James is working for Impact Wrestling, and she's the Impact champion at the moment, the Impact Women's champion. And WWE never do that kind of thing. But that's actually piqued my interest. I'm like, oh, they're bringing someone from another promotion now. And there's talks that they might be doing it with the men's Royal Rumble. So maybe like Chris Jericho could come back. That might be quite good, while he's fighting for AEW. That'd be interesting. But yeah, it's interesting nonetheless. So Lita comes out. She gets interviewed by Cole. Says she's going to win the Royal Rumble and main event WrestleMania. Charlotte came out and Lita said, how are you going to throw anyone over the top rope with that giant head? How do you not fall over? And I just didn't. I was like, what? What are you talking about? She hasn't even got a giant head. She's got a normal sized head. Like, if she had a big head, yeah, all right, maybe it'd be funny. But or if there'd been some build up, I don't know, 3 weeks ago, Charlotte's like, oh, I can't fit this thing on my head. It's just so weird. I was like, what are you talking about?
Have you ever thought about being a writer for WWE, Dwayne? Oh, I can't fit this crown on my head. My head might be growing. Next week she comes on like fucking Hey Arnold.
All right, I didn't mean that, but at least put something in there. At least build it up. But it just felt really weird.
Did they not mean as in because she's so arrogant, big-headed? So more on that terms, or
You're probably right.
Head?
Well, I think she meant physically, but you could be right. Yeah, you're pretty right there. I think I've maybe missed the point of that. Yeah. It's pretty more about her ego. No, she's actually got a big head. Yeah, you're probably right there. I feel stupid.
But yeah, it was
weird.
Yeah, because Charlotte comes out. I mean, Lita. Yeah, it's nice to see her in that. And you know what? I hope they don't do what they did last year with Edge, where they let her win, because why? She doesn't need it.
I know Lita could come in at Mania and fight Charlotte at Mania without winning the Rumble. She could have a fight with her Elimination Chamber. She could have a title fight tonight. It doesn't matter. She's such a star. They can come in and they can do these things. They don't need to win the Rumble, because that pissed me off last year when Edge won the Rumble. I was like, what a waste. Yeah. He could have fought for that title at any point. Give it to someone who needs it. Builds a new character. But, it is what it is. I think their promos between each other weren't that good. Charlotte sort of started comparing Lita to Trish, when she got bored of being a mum and she wanted to be a wrestler again. It wasn't too bad. And then Lita got her in a twist of fate. But when she kicked her to knock her forward, they did it from a side view, and it was clear that Lita didn't even kick her. It was so obvious she missed. It was like this far. There's a big gap. I get it. We know wrestling's fake. We know it's not real. But at least pretend it is. Don't make it so obvious. Cover it up. That's the whole point. Because I'm never thinking, oh wow, this is real. But at least let me believe for half a second. Don't make it so obvious. And then they didn't really face plant her. She sort of just kind of slowly fell downwards. I wasn't a fan of it. But I guess. Then after that, we had Sheamus versus Ricochet, a grudge match because Ricochet hurt Sheamus's best mate, Rich Holland, whoever that is. I don't know who it is, but I do find it weird that Sheamus is in a tag team with this guy called Rich Holland, and Cesaro is in a tag team with Mansoor. Why aren't they tagging together? They're the Bar. They're like a really good tag team who've like had the title like 5 times or something. Why aren't they a tag team? They're on the same show. They're in separate tag teams. Put them together. I don't understand.
Did they split up for a reason or something? Did you watch them?
Yeah, so I used to watch all the Bar stuff all the time. So that's kind of when I got back interested when the Bar was feuding with the Shield almost every week. And they're really funny, great tag team. And they just split up. I think Seamus got injured, so I think he went away for a while. And then they went to different brands. There wasn't really a storyline for it. They just weren't together anymore. But they were a great tag team. It's weird that they're not together, but you know, it is what it is.
I was surprised at Sheamus and Ricochet both being on the mid card. To be quite honest with you,
Yeah.
because of how long Sheamus has been around, how good Ricochet is, and you think they're still just keeping him there.
Yeah, I mean, it's a shame, isn't it? Because, you know, like I said in the Raw, you know, in the Raw review, Sheamus could be fighting Roman Reigns at the Royal Rumble. Ricochet could be fighting Roman Reigns. You know, that'd be great. You know, give them a little extra, you know. It's not happening, but they put on a really good fight. I thought their match was really fun. Um, Lots of high flying, a good back and forth. And I loved the bit where Sheamus leg vaulted Ricochet under the ring. Like he pulled the ring up, put him underneath, and vaulted him up, and Ricochet hit his head underneath the ring. I've
Oh
never
right,
seen it. Oh, that was really cool. The momentum seemed to be swinging Ricochet's way, and I thought he was going to win. But then he ran into a bro kick from Sheamus, and Sheamus won the fight. It was a good fight, but now what? What does that lead to? You know, maybe it's going to be a little mini feud at the Royal Rumble, but at least it had some kind of story. Like, at least Ricochet had beaten up Sheamus's best mate, I guess. At least there was something, you know, something tangible for why they were fighting.
Yeah, I think it's important to remember that this is the first time we've touched into the current
Yeah.
product for a while. So I'm aware that I'm quite critical of it, but I don't want to just try and be too presumptuous because they might well be leading somewhere. These storylines they might well be leading somewhere, but and we're just saying, well, where do they go? Where do they go from here, sort of thing? Because they might be trying to show us next week. But I mean, at the first glance, going back in, it was an all right. It was an all right match to say,
Yeah, it was
you know,
fun. It was
who they are.
enjoyable.
But again, I wish they were pushed further up the card a little bit though, because they seem to. There was a point with when you were saying about the bar where I think they were the champions at one stage, and I couldn't even remember who were the fucking champs. I was like,
Yeah.
they were just a team. They weren't a team that you are invested. This is me. I wasn't invested in them or anything. I was like, they're just a team. That's it. There's nothing that special. But I don't know. It was okay. Okay segment. Yeah.
It was a serviceable match. It did what it was there for. It kept us entertained. It moved us through.
Yeah.
And then we had Kofi Kingston versus Madcap Moss. I mean, that is such a shit name. Madcap Moss. What does that even fucking mean? What's his name? Moss or Madcap? I don't know. It's just weird. It's like the Mad Hatter or something. I don't know. So Kofi came out and he announced that Xavier Woods or King Woods is injured. So I was reading some reports on it. I think he's got tennis knee apparently, and he'll be out for 6 to 8 weeks. He'll miss the Royal Rumble. Kofi announced that he's entering the Rumble, but like again, like I've said, I wish they were fighting for these positions rather than just going, "I'm in the Rumble," you know. But I'm
Yeah.
glad that Kofi's going to be in it because Kofi always does something fun in the Rumble.
Yeah, it's kind of like a little moment that you look forward to, but it becomes expected, doesn't it? Because
Yeah,
that is,
I expect him to do some stupid stunt on the Royal Rumble. Yeah.
yeah. So, but I mean, it's expected, which isn't a bad thing, but I mean, yeah, I get what you mean about the sort of fighting for the spot, but it, I mean, like, imagine if they did have a match later that night where they said, "Okay, this is to secure your entry in the Royal Rumble," and then someone the next week just comes out and goes, by the way, I'm also in it. You're like, well, why the fuck did I just have a match? Oh,
But they don't have to announce it. They can just enter. They can just on the night enter. Do you know what I mean? It's not everyone's got to announce it.
I get the
But
aspect of like I like the kind of idea going back to what we were saying about the Raw review, where they kind of say who is in the Rumble, because if you're fans of that certain wrestler, you can look forward to them being in the Rumble. But there is a sense of predictability about wrestling in general, and there has been for quite some time. Where, say, like someone who's an absolute, low to mid carder that you personally really enjoy, if they're in the Rumble, and you can see you're getting advertised to you that they're in the Rumble, there isn't a part of you thinking, well, they might actually win then, because they're a low to mid carder. They're not going to just give that away. So I think it'd be nice for them to do some more like unpredictable, or mix it up around this time of year anyway, when it's Rumble season.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree completely. So Happy Corbin and Madcap mask came out. I'm a bit confused with Baron Corbin's name change. I thought his name was Baron and his surname was Corbin, but Baron's obviously his title, so he's Baron Corbin and he's King Corbin, and now his title's Happy. I don't know. It's really weird.
What do you call it? Skint and depressed Corbin. King Corbin now he's talking about these expensive watches he's getting. You're like, hang on a minute. Last year you were supposed to be giving hand jobs for money. You were that fucking skin, and now it's just all changed around.
I wish that was a segment where Baron Corbin was wanking someone off or something.
I love that.
That's how desperate he's become.
That's a backstage segment, right?
Yeah, anyway. So he's now, I think his gimmick's supposed to be like he's a millennial like NFT dealer or something, but I don't know. I don't get it. So I don't know why they came out and why they were angry at Kofi Kingston. Their promo's pretty weak, and like it's mostly like jokes about poo. Like,
that was fucking awful.
Like the New Day, the poo day, and Kofi said he's gonna have a shit on Moss's forehead. Like, whatever he's into, I mean, if he likes that, it's fine. Just don't tell us about it. Do that in your own time.
These are the moments where you look and you're like, why am I trying to get back into this? This is for children. I'm trying to be as open-minded as what I can, but when you get that sort of crap thrown at you, you're like, this is
yeah, it was very difficult. You're like, ugh, that is so embarrassing. Why are you saying that?
Yeah. And I find it's an awkward section, I think, when Corbin was trying to, I know it's sort of false laughter, but when he's doing like, the false mimic laughter sort of thing, you just sat awkwardly. When someone tells a joke and there's only that person laughing and everyone else is, what the fuck are you on about?
But why have they given Corbin this gimmick? He used to be like this sort of like lone wolf. That was his name, wasn't he? He was lone wolf, Baron Corbin.
That was a decent gimmick. That because
he had the fun,
end of days and all that kind of stuff.
It's a serious character.
Yeah, I don't get what they're doing with it. But...
Not me either. And then they had a really short match. Moss got thrown over the ropes again, and Michael Cole told everyone that if he was in the Royal Rumble, he'd be eliminated. I don't know. Just keep saying that. Kofi was very dominant. It was quite a short match, and I thought he was going to win. Moss reversed a crossbody, and then they did this really sort of uncomfortable transition into the punchline, which is Moss's finisher, which is kind of like a standing cutter. But like rather than like where Randy Orton, when he does a cutter, when he does the RKO, it transitions in out of whatever. It looks brilliant. But they sort of stood there, slowly turned over, double checked that he had the head, and then they sort of fell forward. It wasn't good. Right. And again, who cares? Why are they fighting? Why? What for?
Yeah, I get that. Yeah, I mean, around in January, leading up to Rumble, and especially leading up to WrestleMania, on the Raws and SmackDowns, there's going to be a lot of matches that are pointless because they're leading up for the big payoff. there's going to be a lot. It's the same every year.
Yeah.
In that
And
sense.
then we had Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns come out. I wasn't sure if it was intentional or not, but Seth Rollins really looked like Michael Jackson. I thought he was going to do like a moonwalk down to the ring.
Hopefully that's all they were going to fucking do.
And then Roman came out, and like, maybe I'm just being really, really nitpicky, but I don't like the way Roman Reigns holds his belt. Like, he sort of holds it over his shoulder. Of course, loads of wrestlers wear it over their shoulders, but he wears it over the back, and it's like he's too cool for the belt. Like, why do you care about it then? Why are you defending it? Why do you give a fuck if you're too good? Just, oh, I don't give a shit. It's just this shitty belt. Build it up. Make it seem like it's important.
I must admit, I've never even took notice of that. I've never even.
Yeah, I think I'm just overthinking it, but it just felt too casual for me. I was like, maybe he thinks it makes him look cool.
I suppose because
makes
he's
him like
supposed to have been a long reigning, bloodline, head of the table, all that kind of stuff. He's meant to have had this big deal, so I think so. It's no big deal. He knows he's the top dog.
Yeah, but
It's a cockiness for the character, I guess, isn't it?
Yeah, but you don't see a king just take his crown off and it's like, oh, I'm just spinning my crown around. No, it's a really important thing. Make it important. Make me feel like it's important. But again, I'm probably just overthinking it and overanalyzing it. But I didn't like it.
I'll tell you what I didn't like though is Roman's promos are still shite. To be quite honest, to put it bluntly,
Yeah,
it was just. I don't know. It's always so forced. I don't have any time. Like I might be critical because it's not as if I could do a better job. But I'm saying compared to
to be
the
honest,
other
Matt, you
people,
probably could.
compared to the other people, it can't. He's the top dog, as in like one of the faces of the company, but it's kind of slow and there's no timing involved or anything.
No, he has
The
very
things
little
that
charisma to say.
yeah,
And
that's
that's why
it.
it
Yeah,
worked a lot better when he had Paul Heyman with him, because Paul Heyman could sort of help him, sort of move him through it, and it wasn't good. So they had a quick back and forth with each other. Though it took them, not including adverts, 6 minutes to walk to the ring together. It took them 6 minutes before they were in the ring together talking. If you're struggling to fill time, give Kofi and Madcap Moss an extra 5 minutes wrestling. Give me some entertaining, not just them slowly walking to the ring. I don't care. And then so Roman opened up by just saying Omaha again. Why do Americans care that their town's being yelled? Is Omaha a town? Is it a state? I don't know. But everyone went crazy. He told them to acknowledge him. Roman said that the Shield is now beneath him and that he's in God mode now, son, which is a really cringy line. But I thought Rollins made a good point, actually. I quite like that, where Rollins brought up the fact that Roman always needed help to get where he is and the matches he'd won and his titles and things like, which is true because he's always had like the Shield with him or like his bloodline, like, his family is sort of Samoan family. And then the Usos came out, attacked Rollins, who jumped around them and then ran away. I felt like this whole section should have opened SmackDown, not been the closing segment.
well,
Like,
yeah.
I want a match
Can
to end it on.
you imagine going to watch that live and then Rollins just runs away and then runs up the ramp and then all of a sudden, like, the curtains get drawn and the crew come in. You're like, oh, fucking home time, is it? All right, this is shit.
Live, what will have happened? There'll have been a dark match, won't there? So after SmackDown, they have fights afterwards that are aired. So maybe Roman and Seth came back and had a bit of a scuffle. Maybe Seth got two mates and they had a 6-man tag. But I agree, live or not, whether you're there or not, that's not a good way to end the show. It's really bad.
Yeah,
I want a fight.
you need
Yeah,
a
so
strong opener and a strong close to the show as well. I think because then
start
it
end
makes
well.
it makes it must watch. The stuff in between, if you have filler in there and stuff, it's not the end of the world because there has always been filler sections, hasn't there?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I mean, it's there's a lot to fill out. I do you. What do you think about Rollins and Roman fighting? Do you think Roman stands a chance of winning it? at the Royal Rumble, or do you think it's just kind of just like, a filler feud?
I think it is a filler feud, to be honest. I think it's a rivalry because they've done this so many times, and it's something that they can they can pull out of their arse to say, all right, we'll need a rivalry that's going to last, a month to maybe 6 weeks. All right, we can throw them two together because why is it happening? So essentially because it's always going to sell. It reminds me, look, people have got. I know this was like 10 years ago, perhaps, but the John Cena and CM Punk rivalry that went on at the time. It's easy to look back now because you just remember the key highlights. But if you look back, you go, that match happened so many times. It was so long that it happened for and dragged on, and it just seems like they tire their expenses of what they've got.
Definitely.
You
Yeah, they use up their commodities. They use it too much, and the thing is, it's a shame to use Rollins versus Romans in a throwaway match at the Rumble because you could build that as a big feud, and it already is a big feud. So I think you can do more with that later down the line. They could have this fight in 3-4 years. It'd probably be more impactful. But I do have a sort of worry that Rollins might win. And if he wins, that means Roman's going to win the Royal Rumble and he's going to fight Brock at WrestleMania. Because if Brock and Romans aren't going to fight at Mania, why are they sort of got this little feud that they started last week? Like, why are they coming up against each other? Doesn't make any sense, right?
they fought Brock and Roman. Do you mean?
Yeah, sorry, Brock and Roman. Yeah.
Well, they fought at 31. They fought at 34. We don't want it again at this year's. It's like constant, as in storylines don't mean anything. I know we've had that before, where you've had like Undertaker and Triple H. They fought 3 times, but you look at the time difference in them, and you look at the storyline that was given. That was for the career sort of thing. But it just seems like, all right. Have you only got like 3 or 4 people that can represent the company? Just put them together again for the 50th time.
Yeah.
It seems a little bit dire. What did you think overall of this week's SmackDown?
I gave it a 3 out of 5, which is probably reflecting on it's probably a little bit higher than I should have. But I think I really got into it. I think I really enjoyed Sami Zayn. I enjoyed a lot more of the matches on this than I did in Raw. I thought they were all quite fun. The tag team match was really fun. Seamus versus Ricochet was brilliant. But the promos weren't that great overall. And I'm curious what it's going to build up. But one good thing, it did build up the Royal Rumble. I felt like everything that was happening, for the most part, was leading to what's going to happen in the Royal Rumble. So it's building up to that pay-per-view. What about you, Mark?
Well, I gave it a 1.5 out of 5. Seriously, it might just be like I feel disconnected with the current product. Well, I am disconnected with the current product, but it might be the kind of mindset that I can't buy into what they're trying to sell me.
So overall, I'm not sure if I'm yet a big wrestling fan. I enjoyed it, but not enough. I'm hoping that they're going to build it up more towards the Rumble, and it's where they're going to get me invested. What about you, Mark? Are you a wrestling fan yet?
Absolutely not. Still, to be honest, I don't know if it's a different. Well, I am completely disconnected to what the product is now, but maybe I've been gone for too long because I can't relate to any of them. This is the first week, though. Bear in mind, so maybe next week might be a little more because I understand what's going on. But at the moment, what they're selling, I'm not buying. It's like they can't throw something at you, and like whatever they've thrown this week at me hasn't captivated my interest. It's just not, and I feel like I've seen the products before. I feel like I've seen all these build-ups sort of thing, and the promos and all that. So,
well, that seems a good place to end it. Thank you everyone for listening. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff, and we'll see you next week.